Alright, tell us your name of your company, and what you do for the community.
Well, my name is Marlon Grennan. The name of the company is Dark Dynasty Canines, aka the DDKLINE family. And what we do for the community, I mean, we do lots of things for the community. I mean, our whole movement really is about education and awareness. You know, to understand, you know, proper leadership. You know, the main slogan is "You lead the way." You know, so that's really what we're here to teach people. But in terms of our community, local community, we have, you know, different charities that we attend. You know, different things that we donate money to, but, you know, we don't really try to glorify these things, you know, so they're not really things that you see or hear about, believe it or not. That's, you know, I mean, that's not our agenda behind it. You know, we donate our time to, you know, rescues and stuff like that, so I don't really like to, for me, I don't really like to necessarily donate as much money as I like to donate time, you know, because time and teaching goes a lot longer than, you know, just giving somebody money, you know, and that kind of goes into something that we're going to do a little further, but kind of touches on our all-around goal. So, what we do for the community, lots of things.
Where are you guys located?
It's a secret. If I told you that, I'd have to kill you. We're located in New Hampshire, so I can tell you that. New Hampshire, deep in the mountains.
What's your main reason for being in business?
I mean, the main reason for being in business, I mean, you use the word business and you're going to come back to money. You know what I mean? Like, your main reason for being in business is going to turn to money, to dollars, you know? I mean, that's what you're in business for, you know? When I think of the word business, that's all I can think about, you know? So, I mean, obviously, I'm in business to, you know, make my way among, you know, this American or, you know, yeah, this American way that we've created, the way that what we've created as the world. We've created this almighty dollar. So, you know, my business, you know, when you say it like that, business. But if you know, when we get into talking about the dogs and in detail to what I care about, it's a much different answer. But just from a straight perspective to answer that question, why am I in business? Well, I'm in business to make money.
How did Hulk become famous, and was it planned?
Yeah, it was definitely planned, you know, but it wasn't paid for, but it was planned for sure. I mean, everything, you know, that we do here, you know, we build things, you know, we build campaigns for dogs, you know, so we'll make, you know, we'll find something that the dog is very good at, and, you know, we build a campaign off of that, you know, like the ones before Hulk, you know, General, you know, his training, and obviously everybody, the world was in awe of, you know, how tightly he was trained and the things that he could do, you know, and his overall demeanor. And then you have dogs like Ghostface, where we, you know, made a whole campaign based upon his jumping, and, you know, he became pretty famous off that. And with Hulk, it was, you know, it was the sheer size. You know, I mean, early on it was, you know, I started to weigh the dog, you know, on the scale. I'd bring him on, I'd put him on the scale, and I'd weigh him, you know, and I started to see, like, I mean, his size was incredible, you know, so from my perspective, I was already impressed, you know, so I just started putting him on my Instagram, which at the time was like, you know, maybe like, you know, 18, 19,000 something, you know, but, you know, maybe 30, I don't know, but, you know, it was a good following, and, you know, people were pretty excited about it, and, you know, so I started to kind of put together a little plan with it, you know, where I posted every week, and you know, people would see the week and the growth, and it became very popular. And then, you know, I understand business and strategy, you know, so I knew if, you know, something that was very popular, you know, I then took it away from the people, you know, so what I did was I took it away, and I said I wasn't going to show his weight until he was a year, and then all of a sudden you have this, like, major interest, you know, everybody wants to know, people are making bets, you know, and it started to really kind of grow, you know, from there, you know, and then we put him on the scale, and his first video came out with the first weigh-in, which, you know, really that was his explosion inside of the, you know, the dog world, you know, where, like, you know, the I guess Pitbull and bully community, you know, that was that explosion where all the breeders and everybody knew who he was, and, you know, who we were, and that, you know, that's kind of was that first explosion. And, you know, from there, you know, you know, I kept this campaign going with the size, and you know, all of his photographs like we normally do. We were filming a video, we were shooting a video in the hallway where I really just wanted to show their size, and we were first getting into these iPhone videos, and this you know, super slow motion, which was really cool. So I took a video where I had Ghost and Hulk both barking, and I remember I took like 3 or 4 takes of it, and I was looking at it and I didn't like it, and I went downstairs to get Lisa, and you know, she was all mad at me and she didn't want to do it again, and you know, so I was like, come on, we got to do it, it'll look really good, and I went and I got her, and we filmed it again, and I think like, I mean, maybe like 2 days later or something, CBS had taken the video and they were advertising for the Grammys with the video. So all of a sudden it was like the advertisement for the Grammys, the biggest night of the year with the biggest dogs in the world, and it was like, bam, you know, there we were. So it was like this video just went berserk. And you know, I mean, it's been so long and so many things have happened. It's almost hard to remember the trail of the story. But I mean, from there, I think was when we basically hit international news. You know, so then I had people like, you know, Australia news and Japan and China and you know UK and you know all these different places calling me up. And that's when Barcroft Media got involved. And you know, they're deeply embedded in my story now. But that's actually when they first called us up and they wanted to come out and make a documentary on Hulk, which, you know, just added, you know, to the explosion. But I mean, I guess the planning portion of it was, you know, I planned the events where basically, you know, once the video was taken by CBS, you know, and I knew the world was watching, I then showed the next part of it, which was, you know, me holding the dogs and them making contact with the bite suit and then them outing, you know. So I wanted to show the world control, you know, that these big dogs still were under control, you know. So that was the second portion that I showed, and that video went berserk, you know, same way. And then from there, I mean, that was when I knew, all right, I showed you big dogs, I showed you aggression, and, you know, then I wanted to show you the real side of these dogs, the soft side of these dogs, and, you know, how they live among my house. And that's when the video came out of Hulk and Jordan howling with the harmonica. You know, so all those events were planned because I understood that, you know, the world was watching, and as soon as we released the video with the harmonica, that was when, you know, Good Morning America came out, and, you know, all the, you know, talk shows came. I mean, there was a lot of talk shows that I actually didn't do because when you get into doing talk shows, one wants the other, it's like this whole, like, arguing and pony back and forth thing, you know, and that was the kind of the beginning, so I didn't really, like, understand the process and a lot of different things. But I remember my first interview I did, I went over to Manchester and I did an interview for, it's the main, like, Good Morning America show of Australia, and that was the first appearance. But I mean, the whole thing, you know, was really built and planned. You know, once it took off, it was just, you know, maintained. You know, when before I went to Good Morning America, you know, I mean, all the videos with them sleeping on the floor, which is all authentic. But, you know, I just made sure that different situation happened. You know, I mean, they would fall asleep on my office floor all the time. I just made sure to film it and, you know, get it out there. I made sure to film Hulk in the shower and, you know, the soft side of the dog, because that's the side of the dog that they hadn't seen yet when, you know, we were showing these big, scary dogs, you know. And that was kind of, you know, when the world first recognized the Hulk. And from there, it was like, I can't explain it any other way than it was like the world discovered Ninja Turtles. You know, I mean, that's like the only thing that I can say, you know, because I've never seen anything like it. And I mean, you can go look for yourself. I mean, the views that he got, any page we hit, we just triple and quadruple the numbers. I mean, it's like, it's absolutely incredible, blessed, thankful. So,
what does the word Pitbull mean to you?
What Pitbull means to me, well, I mean, look that one up in the dictionary yourself. I mean, the word Pitbull to me is, you know, by definition, it's a variation of terrier breeds. You know, I mean, that's what it is. You know, muscular, more muscular looking dog. By definition, this is what a pit bull is. You know, pit bull is a description of dogs. You know, people are very lost in terms of this word and what it means. And, you know, also let me get something straight that, you know, there's such an attachment, you know, to purity, you know, behind dogs, when in general, like, you know, and let me get this flat out of the way right now before we go anywhere with this. I am not at any point saying I have ever mixed a dog. I have never in my life mixed a dog. So, registries, don't take any sarcasm serious. I have never in my life mixed a dog. So that's not what I'm about to get into saying. But what I'm gonna tell you is I'm gonna educate you and I'm gonna let you understand that, you know, this pit bull dog that we all love, you know, has always been two breeds of dogs. There's always been multiple variations of this dog. It's not just in the size that you see. It's also in the little dogs. You know, there's a lot of stories with the dogs in terms of, you know, whippets and how they were used. You know, because, you know, prior to 1980, a pit bull and a bulldog considered the same dog. You know, so nobody knows that. You think they weren't breeding dogs back then? I mean, to understand it, you know, just look it up in a dictionary in terms of what a pit bull is. You know, if you want to know what that is, you know, we'll get into it a little bit later when we talk about, you know, where the size of these dogs come from. But you know, the best way that I can explain pit bull, you know, and how there's nothing pure about it is, you know, are bull breeds in general, right? No other breed of dog has the variation that these dogs have. None. It doesn't exist. You think about a German Shepherd. You know, they're black and tan. You know, between 70 and 90 pounds. Some are over 100 now, right? You know, or all black, all white. You know, 3 variations. If you think of a pit bull, right? I mean, what do you think of? A million different colors? What do you think? Black, red, brindle, blue brindle, white spotted, tan, champagne, like just blue. I mean, there's every color underneath the sun. There's so many variations in this breed. It's ridiculous, and that is literally plain, flat out showing you that this breed is multiple breeds of dogs, and it always has been multiple breeds of dogs. You know, you know, initially what this dog was created for is the most disgusting thing on earth. You know, and you know, everybody that knows us, and not everybody, I know there's some idiots out there, but you know, we are part of many anti-dog fighting campaigns, and you know, that's something that is the most despicable thing on earth to me. But you know, to understand this dog and to understand where they came from, it's, you know, it's something that you have to be educated on. You have to understand that this is where they came from. So before, you know, that they didn't care what was in the dog. They were just looking for performance, you know, so it didn't matter, you know. But when the dog's job was taken away, which thankfully it was, because what a cowardly act, dog fighting, you know. So when that was taken from these dogs, you know, they got thrown into the hands of these registries now with these pedigrees, and you know, who do you think started the pedigrees? You know, they started with the dog fighters. That's where these pedigrees came from, you know. So initially, you know, these dogs were always multiple breeds of dogs. When they got brought into registries, then these standards came along, you know. So, and you know, purity is such a word that we hold such an attachment to, but it's really a negative word. If you think about, you know, these dogs in general, they don't have any health problems, really. They really don't. Nowadays they do, you know, because you have people out there that are trying to breed like 12x this and 20x that, and look at my 9-time this and that, and all this ridiculous nonsense. And when you have no idea how to breed, you don't understand genetics, you don't understand that, you know, every time you breed a dog, you also get the negative. As much as you get the positive, you get the negative. So you have to understand how to weigh these things out, you know. So you know, it's a clear indicator that, you know, these dogs, because they don't have health problems up until recently. You know, they don't have any health problems. It's not a common theme, you know, among these dogs. You know, that's because they've always been multiple breeds of dogs. Anybody who knows anything about dogs knows mutts have always been more healthy, you know, because a pure breed of dog, with all the line breeding and how the dogs are bred, it just makes for a less healthy dog. You know, and this has always been a strong, powerful, healthy dog. And, you know, like I said, that's another indicator on, you know, that proves to you that, you know, this dog has always been multiple breeds of dogs, you know, from the beginning. You know, that's how it was. And you know, the other part about it is, you know, most people don't really know that this dog also started as a larger dog, and it was made smaller to be better, you know, to be more game and better in, you know, the rings. You know, that's so originally the dog was bigger, and it was made to be smaller. You know, I mean, there's so many stories out there, but the thing to understand is, you know, read them all if you want. I mean, read everything that's out there. Don't just read one. The internet's not always going to tell you the truth. Just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true. You know, so a lot of these things for me are based on common sense. You know, I mean, I've been looking at these dogs for over 15 years. You know, I mean, I've seen multiple variations. I've seen two dogs produce something that you were like, how in the what? And then you understand that back in the pedigree somewhere that exists, you know, and you can pull those traits when bred the right way. You know, something that I said and I'll always stick by, you know, lots of people in this world believe that there's such thing as a male dog, or dogs that don't produce. That's not true. There's such thing in the world as people that can't match the right dogs together, because you're looking for something from this dog, and that's not what he was put on this earth to give. You know, it's something else. You know, so, you know, personal preference can block the ability for a dog, you know, being able to, you know, produce something. You know, but we'll get into all that stuff later.
What's your knowledge on Whopper dogs?
Well, I mean, that's a story you can Google as well. You know, I mean, if you want to learn about Whopper, Google it. You know, Google Edgar Eddington. You know, you want to learn that story, Google it. You know, but understand that, you know, again, not everything you're going to read is necessarily going to be true. But you know, there's a lot of obvious points to it. But I mean, Whopper dogs, for the most part, were, you know, larger dogs, you know, that were basically how the story goes is that there's a guy Edgar Eddington. He was actually murdered out of cold blood, and the situation is still unsolved to my knowledge. But basically, I mean, he was known for breeding. I think it was Friedman line Pitbulls, and he had different variations of dogs. So I mean, he was basically part of the and basically ran the house on the weight pull circuit. I think for like 8 or 9 years straight. And as the story goes, he was then allowed to use one-time paper to cross his 2 breeds of dogs and create this dog that they call Wannabe a Whopper. And from there, the main dog that's more known today, the dog Chevy, and that was one of his sons who was born, as well. So, but the Whopper dogs at the time were always around the shows. They were a big attraction, so it was money. You know what I mean? Like, we want to sit here and act like everybody perfect, but it was money, plain and simple. It was money. That's what it was about. It attracted big money for them. I don't think anybody ever thought that one of these dogs, a dog like this, would ever reach the stage that we reached, and that's where, all the issues and different things came about between, some of the registries and I, though, I say on record, the UKC, and I have a great relationship with the UKC. I have no problem with the UKC at all whatsoever, because they understand I did nothing wrong. I didn't do anything differently than anybody else. So I broke no rules. I didn't crossbreed any dogs. I didn't do anything wrong. I just did better promotion. I just made, my dogs and my business world famous. And with world famous, world fame comes, a lot of questions. And a lot of people that don't understand things come in asking questions. But, that's, like I said, Whopper and that story is really where the controversy really starts, I guess you could say. In most people's eyes. But like I said, even if you bring that story in, it's even before that, there was still crossbreeding and mixing going on amongst the pit bulls. Especially because, another thing about these dogs, it's the most popular breed of dog in the world. Everybody has a pit mix lab, pit mix this, pit mix that. Everything's a pit bull, right? I mean, if it's a pit bull, blame it, right? Call it a pit bull, blame it. That's pretty much the trend. It's the most popular dog ever. So of course it's messed with, and there's many different variations and things like that. But like I said, Whopper dogs that story is really where the issues with these XL dogs starts, or referred to issues. I don't know if you want to call it that. It's just part of history. I don't want to say issues. We're literally talking about things that happened 30, 40 years ago. So everybody out here with all of this craziness about these dogs, you just don't know the stories. You think I don't know the stories? You think I don't know? Of course I know. It's just, it's not really my position, to sit here and tell these stories, though. Now I'm here, I got a lot of different, stuff going on in my life, between shooting the television shows and writing books, and, these stories are gonna come out now, they're gonna be talked about, and especially, because of how I was treated in the beginning. I really, honestly, I don't care, I can say it on record, I really don't appreciate how treated me. They treated me like I was a bad person, like I did something wrong. Like, oh, my practices, I followed your stud books, I did everything just like everybody else. Like I said, I just had better promotion, and the dogs became famous from that. I didn't mix any dogs. I'm not hiding some Mastiff on my property to mix with my dogs. I've never mixed a dog in my life. I can DNA improve every single dog here, and I would. Everything, from every breeding I ever done, I got pictures and videos of it from the top to the bottom, and I can prove it. Every single one. I have all HULKS parents, they're all here. Lions is all here. I can show you all of that DNA. It's all DNA. So, do the stories exist amongst these Whopper dogs? Sure. But did I do anything wrong directly? Absolutely not. I've never mixed a dog in my life. Never mixed a dog in my life. Not ever. So, I just used stud books, and I started with American Pitbull Terrier paperwork. It's never changed. I've never had a piece of paperwork for an American Bully. I've never had that. So if I said I had American Bullies, I'd be lying. I've never in my life had that paperwork. To this day, I don't have that paperwork. So, what my knowledge is on Whopper dogs, I'll just keep it to, if you want to learn about Whopper, just Google it, man. Go on Google and you can read all about that story. But I'll just fill in a little bit of the blanks for you about what it was really about. you know, that it was really about showmanship. It was really about money. It was really about bringing people to the registry, bringing people to these events, you know, so that's why it was allowed to happen. But they were always registered by them as American Pit Bull Terriers, always. You know, I didn't just sneak in and like, I mean, you know, they'd like to have you think that. You know, that's why, you know, the night before I was on Good Morning America, I seen the post from them. You know, that was like, oh, HULKS not registered. Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, technically they were right. Let me tell you this story right quick. Technically they were right because at the time, you know, the UKC had just opened up, you know, single registration, right? And years ago I declined to go to the UKC. I don't know why, I just didn't, you know, I was going to register general, but I just never did it. And then they closed down their single registration for a while. Then they opened it back up. You know, I decided to just go ahead quick and get general registered, Zion, Gianna. You know, I just got Ghostface at the time, so I had his paperwork, you know, signed over to me. I don't know if you know about dogs, but basically when you purchase a dog, you know, you sign it over like a title to a car, basically. So the proof that I owned the dog was there. So I submitted all of these papers to the UKC, all my paperwork, I mean, legit paperwork. And this was years before. This was long before anything had ever happened, long before any of this fame had ever come. And please believe it had never happened, none of this would have ever happened. So, you know, anyways, basically, like I said, I submit all those paperwork to the UKC, so then all the dogs were UKC, so his parents were UKC registered. And then I still had this signed piece of paper that I needed to mail to the and I just didn't, simply because I just was busy and I forgot lots of times. So I just didn't happen to mail this paper in. If I had mailed it in months prior to when this happened, this would have never happened, and they wouldn't have actually even had a leg to stand on to come out with a statement like that. Which at the time technically it was true, but what they failed to mention was that 95% of his parents are registered clean and clear through them. Right? So whether they changed all their standards, whatever they did now, I don't follow them, I don't keep up with that, but whatever happened now, that was the case. I mean, I'm talking literally every single dog in my house. I don't have any dogs. At the time, I didn't have any dogs that were only UKC aside from Fessa. None. They were all so to say that Hulk wouldn't be registered unless all this fame stuff happened is insane. You know, it would have been simple. It would have been just another day. They were well aware of these big dogs and these dogs being around. They just didn't want the world to understand that, right? So, you know, I called them up. I called them out on it. I had a long conversation with them. You know, basically, you know, and to be honest, and to this day, I mean, extremely rude to me on the phone. I just didn't appreciate it. It was like they treated me like I was a bad person. Like I did something personally to them. When in reality, you know, I held back a lot of things that I wanted to say because of my respect that I had for the registries, and that I knew that their phones were going to ring more inside of the next week or days than they probably ever rang since existence. I mean, you're talking being viewed by, you know, almost 300-400 million people inside of, you know, 48 hours, you know, when this was all happening. So I mean, it was like insanity. Like it was an epidemic. I mean, we'll get into more of how it's so deeply changed my life. But, you know, at the time, you know, that's why. So, I mean, they obviously felt the need to come out and defend themselves, you know, and try to claim that he wasn't a part of their organization, although his whole family was. And I have general DNA through them, and knowledge DNA through them, and I DNA any other dog that they ever wanted DNA on, you know. So, you know, they just came out to defend themselves. And, you know, then what happened after that, I really think is sad, you know, how it happened, you know, because like I just said, you know, the story with, you know, Edgar Eddington and that whole story about Whopper, you know, they then came out with a statement basically that blamed a dead man who can't come out and defend himself. They come out with this, you know, Dog World was based on a handshake, and if he lied, basically we never knew about it type thing. Like just a terrible like try to get out of it type thing, you know, because they always want to be the clean and clear, you know, nose high in the air, we're the perfect standard registry, like, you know, that's why they rushed and changed everything around and told everybody they had, like, bull pit terriers or whatever they're calling it. I don't know, I didn't keep up with all that, right? Because I don't care about that. You know, the news for what I'm doing will come up, and like I said, I have absolutely zero problems with the UKC because, you know, we're organizations that understand each other, plain and simple. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything that everybody else, I did everything the same way. I did nothing differently. Nothing. Just promotion. In terms of how I bred my dogs just like everybody else. There's you know, the world doesn't know that there's multiple dogs, 150, 140, 130, 120, 110 registered dogs, you know, through all these kennel clubs as American Pit Bull Terriers. They're all out there. You know, I mean, HULKS just became the most famous one. You know, I mean, he's obviously bigger than 150 pounds. He has a little bit of a size factor there. But at the same time, I never said, you know, aside from YouTube titles, I never said that, you know, he was the biggest when people asked me. I said that he was top 3. You know, I mean, because I exist inside the dog world, and I didn't even have to say that. I could go out, I could have said he is the biggest. I could have just went with that. You know, I'm not going to sit here and, you know, pump out the other people that are there. That's not my job. But, you know, I kept it real that, you know, he's top 3. You know, top 3, and he's the youngest. You know what I mean? Because I'll always keep it real. I don't people want to be out there like I'm out here, you know, bull people. That's not my thing. Man, anybody knows me for real knows that, you know, what's going to come out of my mouth is going to be 100. So I not keep it that way.
How do you handle all the negativity?
I mean, short answer, I don't even read it. You know, I mean, from a short perspective, I don't read it. You know, only time I'll read things is if I feel like I want to engage somebody, because I understand that, you know, negativity is something that is very valuable. You know, I mean, believe it or not, this is something in this day and age that is an extremely valuable and powerful promotional tool. You know, especially the way that social media works, the way that people see who comments on what and different things like that. So I mean, I'm very, you know, I understand very well how social media works and how numbers work. You know, so at different times, you know, that's actually why you'll see, you know, us, you know, different people, whether it's me or somebody else in the company, comment on something that's negative. You know, because, you know, we want to build a web. You know what I mean? We want to let you bring people in, because here's the thing. You know, you think that, all right, you know, you got 30 friends, you tell them you hate something. If you think all of them hate it, I mean, you're crazy, right? So, you know, whether it's 3, 4, 5, or 20, you know, I gain something from that. You know, so, and believe it or not, somebody that's more hateful is going to push it more. They're going to promote it more. You know what I mean? Well, it's hard to say, because I mean, there's some beautiful fans, and you know, I mean, I see, you know, we see lots of things. I don't actually see lots of things. Let me stop. But lots different things are brought to my attention at different times. You know, and it's incredible. If I look through one of my emails, you know, the positive side of it. I mean, that's a huge part of what brings me through any type of negativity. That's there. You know, there's so much positive. You know, it's incredible. I'm gonna worry about, you know, these negative Nancy's out there. I won't worry about that for, you know what I mean? I'm fine. You know what I mean? I'm fine. My family's fine. You know, roof over my head. My dogs are fine. I'm fed. You know, I'm not to be like, you know, like that, but, you know, I'm rich, you know, what the why am I worried about that? You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about that. I don't care what people say about me. I never have, you know, and it's always been a valuable tool, you know, so I use it. Like I said, I use it. You know, that type of stuff is very powerful. You know, so if you hate me, I love you, right? You know, because I'm going to use you, and, you know, you become a puppet, you know, and you're free, you know, and I love internet free, you know. So, you know, how do I deal with it? That's it. You know what I mean? I use it. It's a tool, you know, so I'm thankful for it. You know, in reality, I'm thankful for all the negative people out there. You know, they you know, they give the world interesting things to talk about. And, you know, at this point, too, was one of the greatest things, and you know, why I love the fan club so much. And, you know, why, you know, I mean, I do try to be in there and, you know, posting the pictures and responding to things that we can, you know, is the power behind it is incredible, man. You know, you'll go on a picture, 9 times out of 10, someone will be like, yeah, you know, there's a post going, you know, I mean, you got like 30 fans in there that are just putting somebody into the ground, you know, so it's normally like one person versus like an army of 30 DDK fans, you know what I mean? So it's like, sometimes you want to be careful when you go on a post and you get negative, you know, because, you know, my fans will whoop your ass, I'm telling you, my fans will come get you, you know, they for real, and I appreciate y'all, man, I really do. Y'all make it what go around. You know what I mean? Y'all make it go around. Everybody out there, this is, you know, I love you. Fans, I got, man, it's crazy, you know what I mean? But we'll get into the positive side of things a little later. I think we're supposed to be talking about the negative, hateful out there. So that's kind of what we stuck on right now. It's talking about hateful people, you know? And, you know, let me just say something, you know, for me, like, part of how I can move right past it too, is never in my life And like, I just don't understand it. You know, never in my life have I woke up and been like, well, hey, let me go and comment. Let me go say something negative. I see something on a picture and like, let me type something negative. You know, like I don't even understand that mindset. I don't even understand that way of thinking. You know, I don't understand what you gain from that. You know, so it's like, well, I'm going to go out my way to type something negative about somebody. What did I get from that? I got nothing from that. You know, so why would I do that? Why would I waste my time doing that? You know, that's an easy way for me to just move right past it. There's nothing for me to gain from being negative. You know, so, you know, I stay clear of that, man. Negativity is not something that, you know, I support. You know, I mean, if you're a negative person, I'm telling you, I mean, this is a gift, and I've said this before, this is a gift from me to you. If you're a negative person, take whatever negativity you're about to just stop. Just stop right when you're typing. Take that negative energy. I'm telling you, take it and put it into something that you do well, and you will be successful. And you will be sitting in a position like this, so you will not have to sit behind your computer and say negative things about other successful people. I promise you. I promise you. Take that one to the bank. You'll get more than $1 back. Promise you.
How do your friends act now that your business has become more successful?
I mean, you know, everybody proud of you, you know what I mean? You know, friends, family, people proud of you, you know what I mean? So, you know, that is heavy. I mean, the love is serious. You know, but at the same time, you know, I mean, you know, you understand the world and how the world works. You know, you understand that, you know, with success, you know, comes a lot of want, you know what I mean? And you know, when people think you're something, you know, they always want something from you. You know, so that's been a common trend, you know, amongst, I don't know whether to say friends. I mean, dude, my friends are real. My friends keep it real. My friends are good. You know, people in my circle, we good. Most of that is we good. You know, but it's the people that you know, or you were acquainted with, or you hung out once upon a time, or you know, it's something. It's that, you know, when they just come out the woodwork all of a sudden, you know, you got people got all kinds of ideas and, you know, different things that they want you to invest into, and oh, hey, this would be a great idea, and you know, as soon as you don't do it, you know what I mean, you become negative, you know what I mean? So, you know, man, I don't know if I even have friends to say that, man. I have family. I don't really know that I have friends. You know, I think, yeah, I have family, man. I don't really have friends. So what do my friends think? Well, my family is proud of me. I'll keep that.
Why do you think people take things so personal?
I mean, you know, because animals are a very emotional thing for people, you know, for the most part. So, you know, it's funny, you know what I mean? Like, I see people out here, right? Anytime I see somebody that says to me, like, all right, why, you know, don't shop, adopt, you know, which we'll get to that later, you know, to what I do and how I give back and the amount of numbers that I've really actually produced, you know. So if you think I'm the problem, you know, you're crazy. But, you know, anytime somebody says that to me, I mean, you know, I kind of think back to, you know, I mean, like, and there's more people out here campaigning for you know, dogs to be adopted than there is for children. And that's real. You know what I mean? So that's something that I really think about. You know, you know, dogs and animals create a passion that is extremely powerful. You know, that when people see negative things or something that they feel is negative towards a dog, you know, there's an extremely powerful emotional urge, you know, that it's just inside of them. Sometimes you don't even know it, you know. I mean, like, same thing for me. Like, listen, I see somebody like abuse a dog, it lights a fuse inside of me, right? It just makes me upset. You know, to say I see somebody abuse a kid, it's the same way. And I'd hope anybody else out there would be like that. But I'm just keeping it real with the fact that the way I see it, from what I see, I've never seen anybody be like, well, hey, you know, like, stop having kids. You know, there's kids out there that need homes, which is very true. There's tons of kids out there that need homes. Kids out there starving. I mean, and you know, to keep it real, these are things that I also am aware of and that I also help out too. You know, I don't just help out dogs, right? So, you know, why I think people are so emotional about animals is I mean, it's really hard to put your finger on, but that's why I think people take things so personal, because it's a very, you know, emotional topic. You know, animals, they're very close to your heart. You know what I mean? So, you know, animals, for me, like, you know, my connection with animals is extreme. You know, like, I mean, I've definitely lost a lot of people, you know, in my life, and I'm not really here to kind of go over that part of the story, but, you know, I went through a lot of tragedy in my own life, and, you know, close people and things, you know, people passing away, and I've had, you know, my animals pass, and, you know, they're just very different feelings, you know, and you know, not to say one's harder than the other, and I mean, I'm not going to really get into that, but, you know, it's extreme, you know, when a dog passes, you know, so I understand, you know, these emotional attachments, and I really do, you know, so I understand where the passion, you know, to attack somebody that you feel might be doing something negative, it comes from, right? So, I mean, I understand these people, you know, and honestly, you know, I appreciate them, really, you know, I appreciate their passion. You know what I mean? Whether they understand me or they understand my movement and my message, you know, I'm a person that can appreciate the simple side of things. I can appreciate their passion, right? Like, you know, just a simple comparison, like, you know, like things like the WWE, right? Very random, right? But then you'll understand in a minute. You know, most people are like, oh, it's fake. You know, it's fake this, it's fake that, I can't watch it. I can appreciate extreme talent and extreme athleticism from these guys. You know, I can look at that and be like, I can't do that. I can't flip, you know, through 2 stories, whatever they do, land through 3 tables and not hurt the guy underneath me. I mean, that is a skill, right? So that is a talent. So I appreciate things inside of people, whether they're positive for me or not. You know, I appreciate people's passion and people's emotion, you know, because it means that the world is still alive. And, you know, that's something that's very important. Connect. You know, now when we get to, you know, understanding what you're looking at and misunderstanding, you know, that's a whole nother, you know, situation. But that's why, you know, I never take anything personal, you know, because I understand that, you know, it just stems from misunderstanding. Anything that is negative, if somebody's attacking it, it most of the time stems from misunderstanding. Anything that comes from me, material that I put out, if you don't, it's misunderstanding. You don't understand really what you're looking at, you know, or you don't understand the vision, you know, you're not seeing it. So, you know, misunderstanding is a major is a major piece, you know, in you know, if you misunderstand something, it can quickly turn to a negative, right? But to conclude that, you know, I appreciate people's passion. You know, I appreciate passion and emotion. But that's why people are take things so personal among these dogs, because they're very close to our heart.